June 9, 2025. Our world is in constant motion, shaped by forces both seen and unseen. War continues to rage in Ukraine, where cities are scarred by conflict and soldiers stand resolute on the front lines, defending their homeland against relentless attacks. The Ukrainian flag, battered but unbroken, flies over shattered buildings, a symbol of hope and resistance in the face of adversity. Meanwhile, in London, tense negotiations unfold between the United States and China. Diplomats from both nations, joined by British officials, gather in high-stakes talks that could alter the balance of power on the world stage. The outcome of these discussions will have far-reaching consequences for international relations and global stability. Across the Atlantic, unrest grips the streets of Los Angeles. Protesters march for justice and change, their voices echoing through the city as police maintain a watchful presence. The tension in LA is a reflection of deeper social and economic pressures that are building across the nation. These events are not isolated, they are deeply interconnected, influencing everything from the price of energy on global markets to the delicate dance of international diplomacy. Decisions made in one corner of the world send shockwaves that are felt everywhere. The ongoing fighting in Ukraine disrupts vital food and energy supplies, sending ripples through supply chains and leaving supermarket shelves empty in parts of Europe. Damaged grain fields and halted exports threaten food security for millions, while energy shortages drive up costs worldwide. At the same time, the protests in Los Angeles highlight domestic challenges, inequality, frustration, and the demand for change, that resonate far beyond city limits, influencing political debates and public sentiment across the globe. Today, we'll break down the latest developments in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, examine the high-stakes negotiations between the US and China, and explore the causes and consequences of the turmoil in Los Angeles. Each of these stories is a piece of a larger puzzle, revealing how local events can have global impact and how interconnected our world truly is. Understanding these stories isn't just about following the headlines, it's about recognizing how global events shape our daily lives, our economies, and our futures. The news we see each day is more than information, it's a reflection of the forces shaping our world. So let's dive in and explore the key developments driving our world today and discover what they mean for all of us. The Russia-Ukraine war has entered a new and more dangerous phase as Russia unleashes an unprecedented barrage of nearly 500 drones and missiles in a single night. The scale and intensity of these attacks have left entire neighborhoods in ruins, with flames lighting up the night sky and the sounds of explosions echoing across Ukrainian cities. The destruction is widespread, affecting not only military targets but also civilian infrastructure, homes, and essential services, plunging many areas into darkness and chaos. Ukraine's air defenses, though stretched to their limits, managed to intercept the majority of incoming threats, preventing even greater devastation. However, dozens of civilians were still injured, and cities far from the front lines, once considered relatively safe, were struck, shattering any sense of security for millions of Ukrainians. Russia claims these massive strikes are acts of retaliation, responding to recent Ukrainian attacks inside Russian territory. According to Russian officials, these operations are meant to send a clear message and deter further Ukrainian incursions, escalating the tit-for-tat nature of the conflict. Meanwhile, Western officials are sounding the alarm, warning that this escalation could be a prelude to an even larger and more destructive offensive. Military analysts and diplomats are closely monitoring the situation, concerned that the conflict could soon spill over Ukraine's borders or draw in additional international actors. Ukraine, for its part, has demonstrated its growing capabilities by striking deep into Russian territory. Recent attacks have targeted air bases and military factories, causing significant damage and signaling that Ukraine's reach and resolve are increasing, despite the ongoing hardships. Diplomatic efforts have faltered, with peace talks stalled and both sides refusing to compromise on their core demands. As the fighting drags on, the humanitarian crisis worsens. Millions are displaced, families are separated, and basic necessities are in short supply, leaving countless civilians in desperate need of aid. With no end in sight, the world watches anxiously as the conflict intensifies, the stakes grow higher, and the hope for peace becomes ever more distant. In the heart of London, high-ranking officials from the United States and China have gathered for a pivotal round of diplomatic talks. This meeting, set against the backdrop of rising global uncertainty, is being closely watched by governments, businesses, and citizens around the world. These critical trade negotiations have the potential to reshape not only the relationship between the two superpowers, but also the very structure of the global economy for years to come. The United States is pushing for stronger protections for intellectual property, more transparent business practices, and a level playing field for American companies operating abroad. Meanwhile, China is seeking relief from steep tariffs, greater access to lucrative global markets, and assurances that its economic growth will not be stifled by new restrictions. Both sides face immense pressure at home. Washington is determined to protect American industries and jobs, while Beijing is focused on sustaining growth and stability for its massive population. The outcome of these talks will ripple through global supply chains, influence prices on everyday goods, and impact economic stability in countries far beyond the US and China. If the negotiations succeed, they could ease global tensions, restore confidence in international markets, and set a new standard for cooperation between major economies. But if they fail, the risk of a deeper trade war and a global economic downturn becomes all too real, threatening livelihoods and growth worldwide. The world's two largest economies now stand at a crossroads, with decisions made here likely to shape the future of international relations and commerce for a generation. As the world watches, all eyes are on London, where history may be written in the days ahead. In Los Angeles, mass protests over new federal policies have erupted into violence, prompting the deployment of the National Guard. The unrest centers on economic inequality and government overreach, with hundreds arrested and property damaged. Authorities are cracking down, but critics warn of escalating tensions and threats to civil liberties. The crisis highlights deep divisions in American society and raises questions about the government's response. How LA handles this moment will shape national debates on protest, policing, and democracy. The world is watching how America manages its own turmoil. The outcome will echo far beyond the city. These crises, war, trade tensions, and unrest, are shaking global markets and alliances. Investors are nervous, with stock volatility and surging oil prices fueling inflation fears. NATO and the UK are ramping up defense spending, signaling a shift toward a more militarized Europe. Diplomatic efforts like the recent Trump-Putin call have yielded little progress. The world faces rising risks and few easy solutions. Staying informed is essential as these events shape our future. Understanding today's challenges empowers us to navigate tomorrow's world.